Hi everyone. Today I wanted to share about the joy of doing one thing at a time. I have been practicing mindfulness for some time now, and it has been such an interesting experience watching how my mind flits from one thing to another and how I've gotten almost so used to this routine of trying to multitask. I was making my daughter's school lunch today, and I realized how many things I was multitasking. I was sauteing the mushrooms and the tofu in the frying pan and having a conversation with her, and then trying to take the wraps out of the toaster and at the same time do something else that needed to be done. And I thought about a quarter of the way through I managed to stop myself and go, what am I doing? I'm multitasking. And before I would have thought that was some kind of amazing accomplishment. I multitasked and got it all done and pressured myself, and I don't know. Who knows what thoughts run through our minds sometimes. And I thought to myself, no, I am actually going to give myself the gift of just focusing on one thing at a time. And it was surprisingly a little bit challenging initially to do that, because as I said, I thought that because I was doing all of these things for the lunch, it was considered one thing. But I realized even within the one thing, I was actually multitasking. So I said to my daughter, look, I'm just going to practice just focusing on the one task. And as I sauteed the mushrooms in the frying pan, I actually had to internally, physically stop myself from speaking. And even turning around, looking at everything else that was going on, and just literally focused on getting present to sauteing the mushrooms. And as I sauteed the mushrooms, I suddenly became conscious of the sizzling that I heard. And I hadn't heard it before. I might have registered it on some vague subconscious level, but sauteing the mushrooms and hearing the sizzling sound was actually really soothing. It was like listening to the fire crackling, when you're sitting by a fireplace and you hear the fire crackling and it's just got a really soothing sound. It was just like that, listening to the sizzling of the sauteed mushrooms. And it just instantly soothed me and calmed me and brought me to this place of quiet inside. And then I watched the mushrooms and I stirred the mushrooms in the saucepan and I watched them soften and their color change, and they were all sort of bathing in their own mushroom water, if you like. And it felt like they were almost soaking in a warm spring, and it was quite satisfying actually to watch it. And who knew? Who would have thought that watching mushrooms be sauteed in a frying pan could be so deliciously satisfying? Not to mention the aromas that were coming through as well, which I was actually being able to be present to. And suddenly I was in my moment of zen. And literally the only thing that I did was stop multitasking and just focus on doing one thing. And I think there was something so deeply satisfying in that moment to realize yet again the simple magic of everyday moments. The research has also been quite clear in showing that multitasking actually creates more stress in the brain. And as you know, when we are creating stress in our bodies, cortisol elevates, and as cortisol elevates, then it sort of triggers a whole cascade of chemicals and hormones that get released in the body. And just like that, we swap out of that sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system to the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight system. So it actually does pay to not multitask and discover or rediscover the joy of just doing one thing. So I'm going to leave you with that. I wonder what other amazing, joyful discoveries I'm going to be making just focusing on doing one thing. And I hope you discover the same too. Take care until next time.